mode.
Well, hello and welcome to our recovery webinar today. I couldn't be more delighted to be speaking to our special guest, Lizsamber, who's now fully recovered. So I'm delighted that you're going to share that with us. And I know that Lizzie's story is going to inspire you as you progress towards your own recovery. But before we get into that, I've got a couple of things I need to do. Firstly, just to check that everyone can hear and see okay. So let's just do that quick check. If you can hear me okay and see the screen, you've got a little hand icon there on your dashboard. If you can click on it, on that little hand, it'll go up and it'll let me know that you can hear me okay. So yeah, let's have a look. Oh yes, lots and lots of hands going up, so that's wonderful. Good, excellent. And I'm just double check, can you see the screen in front of you that says welcome to the Chrysalis Effect and my recovery? Yes, hands going up, that's good. We're all good to go, which is excellent. So for those of you that I haven't spoken to directly before, my name's Elaine Wilkins and I'm the founder of the Chrysalis Effect recovery program. And just a couple of things before we introduce Liz is I would absolutely love to give some huge thank yous today to those of you that are in our recovery community that have been active in the Facebook forum and been welcoming some of our new recoverers through, because it's always tricky, isn't it, that first post when you go into the recovery forum, and you've just been doing such a great job welcoming people and making them feel special. And also to some of our practitioners on today who are brand new practitioners as well. Many are training on the foundation level, have been going in and also making people feel welcome and helping them with sort of questions and queries. So huge thanks for that. And then just before we I give you a little bit of an update, I just want to let you know that the question box is there. So if you have any questions throughout the next hour that we're together, if you can just type that into the question box there, that will be great. And in fact, what would be really nice is if you want to pop in there today whereabouts you are in the world, because we do have people all over the world that come onto the Chrysalis Effect. So it'd be lovely to know whereabouts you are, and we can see sort of just how much of an international presence we're growing. So thanks for joining us today. Now, what I wanted to do before I introduce Liz is I just want to go through what we're going to be covering. So I'm going to do a little introduction, little update on what we've been doing at the Chrysalis Effect, and just to also introduce some of our newer people that are joining us today to our approach so that everybody's on the same page. And then I'll be introducing Liz and I'll be handing over to her really. She's going to take us through her journey of recovery, which is, I know, going to be so inspirational for you. And she's going to show you how she personally tackled the 8 elements that we know are essential for recovery. We have some nice inspiration for you as well today. And, you know, as I always say, if you have any questions going through, I will keep my eye on the question box. So if there's any specific questions you've got for Liz, I will pass them on to her. And if there's any other questions for me, or if it's a question that we can't answer on here today, then we have a fantastic community of expertise within the Chrysalis Effect. So we will certainly get that question answered for you. So that's what we're going to be doing, and also remind you of next month's members webinar as well. So people are still joining. So just to refresh that if you're coming in and you've just joined us, then if you'd like to type in whereabouts you're calling in from today, that would be lovely, and your name, and then we are just about to get started. So just a little bit of an update now. So I know that today we have some people in our recovery that are on the online recovery program and that are already progressing through their recovery. We also have some many people on, I think, today that have just started a trial with us, and other people maybe that have accessed some information around recovery and come on today to hear Liz's recovery story. So I just wanted to go through and just remind everybody how the Chrysalis effect has changed the approach to recovery. So first of all, we work internationally. Our website can be accessed all over the world because we wanted people, no matter how unwell they were, even if they were bedbound, they didn't have to get themselves anywhere. We were taking recovery into their homes. So we have the website first of all. On the website, we have practitioner directories. We have 2 of those. We have a complementary therapy directory for specific therapies, but all our complementary therapists on that directory will have undergone some initial or foundation training in Chrysalis effect approach. So they understand quite a lot about ME, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, and of course about the recovery process and the way we work, so that they'd be very au fait with your journey on the recovery program. We have the 8 Essentials guide. Be good to see hands up anybody that has already downloaded that, the 8 Essentials. If you have, just click on that little hand icon and we can see. If not, that's a free guide that you can have a look at and gives a bit more information about our approach. We have support emails that go out when people have downloaded that, and we offer people the opportunity then to try the online recovery program for 30 days to see whether it's the right fit for them and their recovery. I think unless you try something, you never know. Then from there, there's a health profile within that. And that health profile, once you fill that in and send that through, you'll get another personalised email from the office. Not everything is automated on the Chrysalis effect, and you will have been asked whether you would like to have a health profile review with one of our specialist practitioners. So if you decide to go that route, then you set up a 30-minute health review. Our practitioner will contact you. And from that, you have 2 choices. You can either have an initial consult going forward with that practitioner, and they will put together a tailored package of care. And because we work as a team, identify the needs, where you're at, what you've done so far, where the gaps are, put together a tailored package of care, and identify which specific team members you'd need to work with. Sometimes it's 1 or 2, sometimes it's 3. It just depends on your own personal situation. So that's one option, and a lot of people like that one-to-one approach. The other option is to work with the online recovery program as a self-help program, but you have access to the team at the office. Also the Facebook closed forum, where you've got positive, fantastic support from other people that are recovering, as well as practitioners go in there as well and answer questions. So that's what we wanted to make sure, was that people were fully supported and had the education and the information so they understood what was causing their symptoms, help with identifying the causes and what to do to address them in a supported step-by-step approach. So that's how the Chrysalis effect has changed recovery. I was ill for 6 years and became bedbound, and really pretty much the Chrysalis effect is everything I knew was needed but wasn't out there when I was ill, and that's what we've been doing now. We're into our 6th year of offering that support and getting fantastic results. So just to update people, some people are asked questions about, well, if the Chrysalis effect is so effective, why is it not, certainly in the UK, in the NHS? So that's the work we do behind the scenes. So the progress so far is that we really are aiming to change healthcare, because we know that what is needed is coaching needs to be introduced into the NHS for patients. They've already introduced it for their own personal development and learning, but not for patients. So wellbeing coaching in the NHS, we had a meeting in 2014. You can see us here, we met MPs, plus that led to a meeting with Dr. Martin McShane. We also applied for an Innovation Accelerator Award in 2015, and from that we've been given the opportunity to circulate to the academic science health networks for evaluation and adoption of the programme, because it would mean that that GPs would have something uniform to refer patients to. And then a new development this week, which is very, very exciting, is that a private provider wants to meet with us, a provider that provides to the NHS, and they want to meet with us because it may be that we get through to the NHS via a different route. So we had that breakthrough this week, which is really exciting. So just wanted to let you know kind of just what we've got going on at the Chrysalis Effect. And I will then introduce Liz. And while Liz is going through her story with you, I will check out the question box because I can see that there's some questions in there that if that's okay, I'll answer towards the end about the Chrysalis Effect programme itself. Okay, so let me just open up the line, and I would like to introduce you now to an amazing lady who it's been my absolute pleasure to know for some time now. Liz was at university doing her degree as a mature student. She became very, very unwell. She got pregnant, and that was kind of the tipping point for her. I'm sure she'll share more with you in a moment. And she'd had lots of different jobs and career paths before that. But it was at that point where she became extremely ill with ME and chronic fatigue, and she is going to, what we're so delighted about now is that she found the Chrysalis Effect on her recovery journey. We worked with Liz, and now we had a conversation a little while ago, and she is at full recovery and has agreed to come on and share her story with everybody. So Liz, can you hear me okay?
I can. Hello.
Fantastic. Hello. Thanks so much for joining us today. This is a very, very exciting day for us at the Chrysalis Effect because you've come full circle and you're looking fantastic. And I know that people have loads of questions. So let's just start straight away. I'd love you to share with everybody, Liz, a bit about your story and perhaps life before you became ill. Let's hear about that first of all.
Okay. I was single. I was reasonably happy. I was busy, just doing lots of things, riding horses. I was qualified in massage, did lots of massage, and then I got my dream thing of going to university as a mature student, and that was my dream. So life was, quite good, but busy. Yeah, and then following that, so everything was fine until I went to university, and then I got pregnant, and that, as you said earlier, was my tipping point. Got very ill, difficult pregnancy, difficult birth, and never recovered. Then my relationship broke down, and I found out I was pregnant again, and then I was basically homeless, sleeping on my mother's sofa with a baby and pregnant. And from that point, I was exhausted, and it's taken me about 14 years to recover.
Okay, you haven't been with us for 14 years though.
No. I've only been with you the last year or so. I don't know how
That's
long.
right. So it was a long haul then of trying to get some help, wasn't it, before you
Horrendous.
before you actually sort of found us here at the Chrysalis Effect. So
Absolutely.
Just to sort of go through what the normal NHS
Mm.
route is, and then I'll get you to tell us kind of what happened in your experience then, Liz. So I think
Yeah.
blood test is the normal thing, isn't it? We normally have those.
Yeah.
Normally they always test the thyroid, but it's usually inadequate, as we know. There's no adrenal testing done whatsoever. Now, different referrals that are, we hear of over and over again is neurology, rheumatology. For me, I was referred to experts patients program. Some people have offered that. Was you ever offered that, Liz?
I have been, yeah, but it was after I met you, so I didn't do it.
Right, okay. Yes, okie dokie. Then, of course, there's graded exercise therapy. I haven't seen that on your list. I don't think you got that one, did you?
No.
No. What about CBT? Did they offer you any
Oh
CBT?
yeah, I did that. Did
Okay.
that. Waste of time.
tick that one off the list. So as you can see, it's a bit hit and miss depending on where you live, what you get offered. But this tends to be the offerings, does it? And then pain management and ME clinics. So I
Yep.
think you definitely got offered that one, didn't you?
I did nearly all those apart from the expert patients, I think.
Right, okay. And then, of course, we get to the actual treatment that you're offered, or
Mhm.
as such, which is drugs. And then, usually, in the early, you're sort of just then home trying to figure it out yourself, aren't you, really? So,
Yeah.
does that
Yeah.
sound about right?
That sounds about right. That sounds I did all that. All
Okay,
that,
so
absolutely every single one of them.
you
Yeah.
these you've got on here. If you want to take people through what happened when you got your referrals, because I think you had quite a good immunologist, didn't you? Do you want to just tell people, what happened when
Yeah.
you started to go for help?
Okay. Yeah, the first thing I got was I spent 2 years going in and out to the doctors saying that I was ill and got all they told me was, oh, you've got a virus, go away. 2 years doing that.
Yeah,
Eventually, I didn't get a diagnosis. I had to go and see somebody privately. My friend took me in a car and she actually diagnosed me with ME.
right.
So that was my first diagnosis, and it was just amazing to have a diagnosis. Then I was lucky, I think, in a way that my doctor changed and Professor Pinchin came down to Cornwall. So the doctor that actually had diagnosed me sent a letter to my doctor, and I got to see Professor Pinchin, which was good. He's a very good man, and he was the first person that actually I felt believed me, which was
Yes.
a huge thing. That was a huge thing for me. However, he couldn't help apart from drugs. Um, had all the blood tests, all the things that you said, blood tests. He did refer me, I did get an OT, a specialised OT, that came and talked about pacing, and it was about managing your life, about just how to pace and manage.
So that's an
So I
occupational
did,
therapist, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, and she was a specialised one,
yeah,
and she was actually trained in ME.
right.
Um, but it was all about pacing. It was all about how to manage your life.
Yeah,
I did that. I also got sent to an endocrinologist who wasn't very helpful. Didn't help at all, actually. So I did all the rounds of everything, everything you put on your last slide.
yeah,
And obviously I got offered loads of drugs, and I tried them all. I must admit, I was so desperate. I tried them all, and they all made me worse.
yeah. Okay, they would do because
Went
of
to a pain
the
management clinic, and
sensitivity.
all they did with that was,
Yeah,
and they gave me CBT,
right.
which didn't help.
No. Okay.
Didn't help.
There's a question just come in here, Liz, and
Yeah.
Jane is asking, could you just run through what your symptoms were? When you were kind of
Okay.
at your worst. I think it helps people to know, that they're not going mad. If
Yeah.
if you've got had
Yeah.
all that and you've got rid of it. So if you could just share
Yeah.
that, would be
Okay.
brilliant.
Okay. I actually thought I was going mad at one point. I thought I had cancer. I thought I had a tumor. I thought everything because I was so ill. I had fatigue that you just don't understand. If you've never been there, you can't describe it. It was just the worst fatigue I've ever had. I could hardly get out of bed. Pain was horrendous. The pain, I had all over body pain. I also had nerve pains in my legs, which kept me awake at night. The pain literally kept me awake at night. I didn't know what to do with my legs. My legs were so bad. I actually wanted to chop them off, and I actually was thumping them. I can remember being in bed thumping them because I didn't know what to do with them. Fuzzy head inside my head. It felt like, well, it's actually, I described it that my whole inside my head and inside my body, it felt like there was black cotton wool wrapped around all my nerves and all inside my body, and I couldn't get through it. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't walk. I just couldn't do hardly anything. Um, couldn't think, couldn't read. all those things. It was just total meltdown. And that I can't describe it any worse than that because I can't think of anything worse than
No,
that.
absolutely. And actually, that hot cotton, I used to say hot cotton wool. That's what it felt like in my head. So yours sounds. It
Mm.
is just. It is an incredibly terrifying place to be, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah,
for sharing that.
absolutely.
So, Jane, has that sort of been helpful? Yeah, Jane's saying thank you, recognisable and awful. Yeah, so I think it's so good when you know that Liz is, she's just got all this lovely energy now. No matter where you're at. I had a lady call in the office this morning and my heart just bled for her, because she was in that real negative state where she just felt like she didn't have the inner resources, and we just have to find it from somewhere, don't we? Because the other thing is, Liz, and
Mm.
the thing I was saying to you the other day is you were experiencing
Yeah,
all that, but you were a single mum by this time, weren't
I
you?
was.
With
Yeah,
two little
yeah,
ones to get out the door in the
yeah,
morning. So, I mean,
yeah.
what was that like? How did you manage?
I, looking back on it now, I don't know how I managed. I really don't know how I did it. I used to literally wake up in the morning and all I could feel was pain, and I thought I can't get out of bed. And then I thought I have to get out of bed. I had nobody to help me. Um, I had to get out of bed, and I have a play group which is literally outside my front room, outside my door, and I couldn't walk the children to the play group, and they used to come and pick the children up for me at
Oh,
one point. And when I did force myself to walk, I used to collapse at the door and I used to get a chair and I couldn't get back home. I don't know how I managed. It was just by sheer,
having to.
I had to. I
Yeah, there
had
wasn't
to. I mean, I
anybody
had
else,
to
was there?
feed
You
the
got it.
children. I was feeding them on paper plates at one point. I couldn't. I was literally putting chicken nuggets and chips in the oven and feeding them on paper plates because I couldn't wash the dishes.
Oh, we're going to see your boys later. They look like they've survived.
Yeah, yeah, they're all right.
They're all right, aren't they? And I'm sure
They are.
very proud of their mum. Beth's just saying, were your symptoms still as bad as that when you found the chrysalis effect?
Yes, maybe slightly better, but I think I was in relapsing, remitting
Yeah,
type of
you
thing.
were, because
So
I remember.
sometimes it was slightly better,
Yeah,
um, but yes, I would certainly have times when they were like that. Absolutely.
yeah. So it was relapse and remission, boom and bust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as we know, there are these 8 essential areas. Nobody gets away with it, folks. You have to look at all of these areas. These are the ones, aren't they? These are
Mm.
this is the magic key to getting well, and this is why other approaches that aren't holistic don't work, because there's always something missing. So, what Liz is going to do now, she's going to take you through the changes that she made in those 8 areas specifically for her recovery. So hopefully that's going to be helpful. So I thought we'd start, Liz, with lifestyle and pace.
Yep.
Because it always makes me giggle with you. I'd just like everybody to read this little excerpt from an email that we got from Liz at the beginning of the programme when she first started, and this might resonate with some of you. Um, Dear Elaine and Kelly, I've completed session 1 this morning and ordered all the books. Can you send me some more sessions, please? Many thanks, Liz. So this just shows you, when we talk about A-type personality, this and the reason people often say, why do we not give you all of the sessions immediately? Why
Mm.
does it come incrementally? So maybe I can hand that over to you, Liz, because I had to explain it to you, didn't I? And you weren't very impressed that you thought you could just whiz through it in
No,
a week.
I wasn't impressed. I
No.
was not impressed at all. I really just wanted to get on with it. I suppose that's, as you say, it's part of your personality. You want to get up and do things and get it done, and I had to learn that a lot. And you were like, no, no, you need to take this steady. And I was like, no, I want it now. But it's the right thing to do. It taught me a lot that I, you just can't do everything at that pace. You just can't do it, and it's not good for you. It's not healthy for you. So it's a big lesson for me, that one. It's a big lesson.
So lifestyle and pace before you got ill. Um, perhaps you could talk about that, and then talk about what, you know, the changes you've made now, so that you know, you live
Yeah,
life differently.
yeah. Before I got ill, I was driven, really. I've come to recognize that I didn't really recognize it at the time, but I was driven. It was like, got to do this, got to do that, want to do that, want to do this. And what's my next project going to be, and where am I going to go next? I like moving around and traveling and doing stuff, and it was like, that's how I felt. And it felt normal to me. It completely felt normal, until I crashed. And
Yeah.
then it was like, okay, you can't do this anymore. Now, much better. I've sorted out that driven side of me. I've looked at it. Why am I like that? And now it's like, no, I don't need to do that. I take care of myself all the time, and I pace it. But it's not paced in the way, that you have to pace it to recover. It's paced in the way that I care for myself. So it's paced like, right, okay, I can do so much today, but it's balance. It's about balance in your life. That's what it is about.
So you were telling me about your diary, because I was saying what I, you know, the way
Yeah,
I, you know, because we've got this tendency to be able
yeah,
to do tons, and for years and years and years we thought that that was normal, to live a life that was
yeah,
cram packed. That's
absolutely.
a lot of years of conditioning. So do you want to share with everybody what you do with your diary? Because I know you do something similar to me.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, actually on a Sunday, what I do is I plan my week. So I've got an idea of what I'm doing, and I put it all in my diary, and then I look at it and I think, is this possible? You've got to allow some time just in case other things come in. Um, so I do one thing per day, like I now play tennis, or I, can't do counselling or whatever. I do tend to have one thing per day that I can achieve that's good, and other little things that I can eliminate if I need to. But I don't do that every day either. I always have some days that is nothing in that day.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
absolutely
nothing.
crucial. And that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you don't lead a busy, interesting life. It just means that you
No.
actually live a normal, balanced life. It doesn't it?
Yeah.
With making
Yeah.
sure that you,
Absolutely.
so the sort of things you do to nurture yourself then, Liz, what would they be?
Okay. Um, Lots of things. I put myself first all the time now. Absolutely important. Things to nurture myself. I I go out somewhere, I visit friends. Don't visit friends too often because of the noise and the chatter. You know, you have to regulate it. So I put nurturing things like simple things, buying flowers for myself,
Yeah,
lighting candles,
yeah.
having a bath, having some peace and quiet, going for a walk on my own, um, things like that. Going for a swim, because swimming is my joy, is going down to the beach on my own and going for a swim. So those are the sort of things. Reading a book. If I really want to read something, I can find a quiet space and read on my own.
So it's about prioritizing the things that really nurture you, instead of having so much else going on. All that good stuff gets squeezed out.
Absolutely, you have to do those things that nurture yourself. They are probably my top priority.
Yeah, without doubt, me too. And to other
Yeah.
people that haven't got ill, a lot of them naturally do that, but we never knew how, did we?
No, no, I didn't. I was always caring for other people.
Oh, always putting everyone else first. So we know
Yeah,
we've got our 6 phases of recovery here. So, you know, you can see clearly that even though for many years you'd been ill before you came on to the recovery program, you were still a lot in denial. Would you agree with that, in terms of, you know, just give me the other sessions, I just want to get on with it now? You know, so that's
yeah,
still that tendency to push, push, push. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you know, a bit of that going on, and a bit of external search and crash. You were kind of between those 3 phases, I think, when you
yeah,
came on, which is probably the
yeah,
most
absolutely.
common thing we see on the chrysalis effect. That people are, you know, often in phase 3, and then they have these relapse remissions back to crash phase, or they, you know,
Yeah,
and they still got that sort of belief that somehow, you know, they can push through this somewhere, because it's
yeah,
years of that conditioning, isn't it? So I
yeah.
know that
And
one.
I was,
Sorry.
yeah, so I was years in those phases,
Yeah,
absolutely years, because I
yeah.
didn't know how to get out of it.
Well, I always say, you know, when I'm training practitioners, is the thing with this is that you don't know, people don't know what they don't know. And so, you know, the
Yeah,
earlier we can get this information out there to people, and the early
absolutely.
stages when they got, you know, if you had all those symptoms going on at the beginning, and we could have explained this to you all those years ago, look how many years we could have shortcut this. So, but,
Absolutely.
you know, we can't turn that back, but, you know, we
No.
can make the change for people going forward. So,
Yeah.
nutritional health. Now, I'm very aware we're about halfway through, Liz. So, nutritional
Okay.
health. I know this is one you're passionate about. So, can you
Yeah.
tell us the diet before and the diet now?
Okay. Before I didn't really care what I ate. I just ate what I wanted, really. Felt okay before I crashed. Obviously, I was just eating whatever. Now, huge difference. I've just realized what a huge impact it has on my life. And it's one of the things that I don't let go. It's just so important. My diet now is organic mainly. Um, I eat a lot of raw, I do a lot of juicing, and I keep to that roughly 80-20. So I still will, you know, if it's somebody's birthday, I'll go out and eat something in a restaurant, but I will go straight back to it when I get home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The biggest change I think it did for me was eating well, eating like that. Huge impact on my
You
health.
you think about that. You think about people like us, driven people out there,
Yeah,
go, 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 and putting really inferior fuel into our bodies,
yeah,
and the
yeah,
stress, you know, how the body manages for years and years and years, but ultimately, silently, it's breaking down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It does, and it does.
yeah, it's the hardest thing because don't know about you, but when I was ill, I felt so rubbish that actually my only pleasure really was sort of comfort food. So for the early
Yeah,
stages of my illness, I was eating sugar and, you know,
yeah,
Bob would bring me home sort of buns and things, you know, to cheer me up.
yeah,
And of course, it's
yeah.
it's the worst possible thing you can
The
do.
worst thing. Mine was Lucasade.
Yeah, and me.
Um, I absolutely loved. I was brought up on Lucasade. My mum used to buy it for me when I was ill,
Yeah, and
and
me.
and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was having that, and I was having so many hypos because I got
Oh
hypoglycemia
my
through
God.
it. I was so ill, and then I just one day I thought I've got to do something about it. And even though I was really, really ill, what I did is I did little things at a time. So the
Yeah.
first week I thought, right, I'm going to drink water. I'm just going to drink loads of water. So I did that for a week or two. And then the next thing I would set myself a goal, right, I'm going to stop sugar. So those are my two, you know, so tried to started to cut down on sugar. You had a few relapses, but I was focused and cut sugar. Then I did, right, where can I get healthy food from? There was a farm shop that would deliver it. So I got a delivery.
Yeah.
So you just do it bit by
Bit by
bit
bit. This
and
is the thing, isn't it?
eventually,
We tend to try
yeah,
and want to do it all overnight, and you can't because
no,
you're used to doing things a certain way, and the body will always go back. You know, we crave
yeah,
to go back to what we see as sort of normal, don't we?
yeah,
So there's a couple of
yeah.
questions here. Um,
Okay.
well, what is the view on alcohol in relation to recovery? And I would absolutely say that if you're going through recovery, and Liz, I don't know about you, but
Yeah,
it's an absolute no-no. um,
absolutely.
Alcohol, your body is in a depleted state, and you know when you look at the domino effect, and you'll learn it. If I don't know if you're on our program fully yet, but when you see the domino effect and you see what happens if the liver is in poor methylation and cannot process toxins, alcohol is not only a huge percentage of sugar, which we've just been talking about, but your body cannot cope with it. I used to be so ill on it, and I can honestly say that it's taken. I've been well now for since 2006, so it's a long time, and I still am very, very, very restrictive and selective about alcohol because when you have a very sensitive constitution, which we have emotionally and physically, you need to get everything else working really, really well for your body to be able to deal with it. And there's other things that you'd need to get in place before you do it. So I would say, you know, that's definitely got one that's got to go because it just makes you feel so wretched. And sometimes it's a 3-day delay before you feel wretched on it. I used to get migraine straight away. I don't know about you, Liz. What about you on alcohol?
I couldn't touch it. It was one of the biggest things that actually got my diagnosis of ME because I
Yeah,
knew it just made me so ill. Couldn't
yeah.
do it.
Oh
Couldn't
God,
do it. Still don't.
no, I can still remember that horrendous feeling with alcohol. And it is miserable because you're around everyone celebrating. But now, good news is, Anne, I can, a good drink for me, funnily enough, is champagne. It's a really good one. So I'm sure you'll be fine. The other one, of course, is coffee. Another no-no, I'm
Mm.
afraid. I drink it every day now, 1 cup, maybe two, but I always have the good, healthy, decaffeinated stuff, and I only drink the fresh coffee, but the decaffeinated type. While you, depending on where you are in your recovery process, and this is what we were saying, you might need to cut it out. Just you've got to gauge what it does to your body. It will tell you very, very quickly because you'll be highly sensitive. Okay, so yeah, you'll be all right, Anne. You'll be able to have champagne eventually, I promise you. And you'll be able to, and Jane, you'll be able to have lovely coffee. You might need to cut it out for a little while until, and do the other things you need to do to get built up. Somebody's asking about nutritional supplements. I'm not going to ask Liz to recommend them because nutritional supplements are horses for courses. And what worked for Liz may be a totally different ball game for you. And that's why we have, nutritional therapists need to know a lot more about you before they recommend. There are quite a few standard ones like coenzyme Q10 and things like that, but there's everyone needs to have their own combination really. Would you agree, Liz?
Yeah, yeah. I had loads, and
Yeah,
I've cut it down now to I only have about two or three now.
yeah.
But
Um,
initially, we need lots.
Sheila's saying about how do you cope with sugar cravings. Sheila, when you are able to reduce the sugar, like Liz was saying, and gradually cut it out and replace with much more healthier things, you will find that you don't crave it. It's when you're having it you crave it. I know it's tough, but
Yeah.
it's going to be essential for recovery. Trust me. Okay, so next one now is thyroid and adrenals. Now, this is absolutely crucial crux. It's the thing that we need to educate the NHS on because they don't acknowledge the adrenals, and the thyroid tests, as we know, aren't right. What happened with you on that one, Liz?
Right, okay. This one, looking back now, I think I was subclinical for years on thyroid, because I've looked at my notes from the doctor. But what happened with this is after I was pregnant, they tested me and said I was low, but never did anything about it. Eventually, I went to see a private doctor who does it naturally, and he diagnosed me with adrenal fatigue and thyroid problems.
Yeah.
It He immediately told me some supplements that I could get, and I used to actually get my own supplements and my own thyroid hormone for a while. Um, and then eventually I got some thyroid hormone from the doctor, but it took a long time.
And the
But it was
key here,
crucial for me.
it was absolutely crucial. The key here is that even if you are diagnosed with an underactive thyroid and the doctor prescribes for it, um, often we see people have problems because they have never had their adrenals supported. And
Mm,
in the protocols
absolutely.
that we know work, most effectively and get people through is to make sure that the adrenals are supported before the thyroid is treated, and that way you don't have the issues. Otherwise, there'd be a backlash, and it's not
Yeah.
a long-term answer, is it, Liz? Um,
No,
Beth,
that's exactly right.
right. So Beth is saying for Sheila about sugar cravings. Yeah, again, Beth's actually a nutritionist and naturopath. There are supplements that will help with sugar cravings. So again, it's back to having the right advice, Sheila, to support you on that. So next area of the wheel then, Liz, is environment. So what changes have you made? What's different in your environment now? I know for some people they literally have to move. I had to move to
Right.
another
Okay.
area to recover. I couldn't. You
Yeah.
see that picture of that built-up place? I could no more live
Yeah.
somewhere like that than fly in the air. I have to be in the second picture.
Yeah.
Like you, I'm out where the fields are. But environment is a huge part of recovery for the highly sensitive people that develop these conditions. But for you, what changes did you make?
Okay, I didn't have to make house changes, move anywhere because I live in a nice area, so I was okay with that. The things I have had to change was inside the house, so it was chemicals. Um, I've cleaned up my chemicals. I don't use things like bleach and stuff like that. I use all natural products, and all my toiletries are all organic. And I'm now doing stuff on electromagnetic fields,
Yeah.
stuff like that to block those out.
So
So
just
those are the main things.
there's some questions coming in about different things like adrenals and also about things like
Yeah.
what is electromagnetic field. So for those of you that are on the program, it's all covered in there, just to reassure you. So it's all covered in there so that you understand what we're talking about, why it's important, and what to do about it. So we're not going to be able to go through specifically you know every single element that comes up. We're just sort of revisiting what the program covers and what Liz specifically did. But I think the EMFs is really important, and that's about exposure to computers, phones, walkabout phones, anything that's giving off electromagnetic field. And again, there's things in there that you can, in the program that we get you to have a look at to see whether that is going to be helpful to limit that as well. Okay. Right,
Okay.
so those changes have been all part of rebuilding your sort of physical and emotional strength, haven't they, really? Um,
Yeah.
all of those
Yeah.
things. So, movement then. We know you're a swimmer. We know you love your tennis
Yeah.
because I remember when you were first on the programme and you had your first breakthrough of feeling better, Liz. I remember
Mm.
you emailing me full of glee and
Yeah.
giving me the rundown on what you'd done that day because you had a little bit of so perhaps you could uh, just what was normal for you in terms of movement when you needed to recover, you had to adjust it. Can you just give us a bit of an update on that?
Yeah. Yeah. Before I got ill, I was really fit. I was super fit. I was riding and swimming, and I was super fit. And then I got pregnant, got ill, and then I crashed and couldn't do anything. I literally couldn't. But as I went along the way, and then I joined you, I started to feel a bit better. So I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll go back to swimming. Um, but I did it too hard, too much, couldn't do it. I didn't have everything else in place first,
Yeah,
but I so desperately wanted to swim and be normal and all those sorts of things, um, that I used to force myself to do it. And psychologically, it might have been a good thing psychologically because I thought
yeah,
I was doing it, but it didn't help my recovery. It put
no,
me back. I used to
yeah.
end up in bed for days after
Exactly, and
doing it.
and we understand the reason for that because it's to do with amino acids, and it's to do with that when you're depleted and while you're getting better, there's five backup systems in the body, and when you go and overdo it, when your body isn't back to where it should be, you go into those backup systems, and they're only designed to work for a very short space of time, and so that is why when you do it, you can do it at the time, but you have a tremendous backlash, and probably it'll put
Yeah,
you back into bed. So we understand the
yeah,
reasons why, and again, our specialists explain all that, so that you don't think you're going mad. You actually know the physical biochemical reasons for why you crash. So,
yeah.
movement for you now. Then you mentioned swimming. What sort of what do you are you able to do now? You're better.
It's amazing. I keep pinching myself actually because I'm actually playing tennis.
Yeah,
I go swimming. I go down to the beach and go swimming. But the biggest change for me is walking because I couldn't walk. I couldn't, as I said, get to the playgroup, which is like 20 yards outside my house. And I can walk. I went for a walk around the woods the other day. Not a problem. It's
yeah,
just, I don't even think about it now. Going up and down stairs, it's like I used to sit on the bottom of the stairs and cry because I
and cry.
couldn't
Yeah,
get up the stairs. I literally couldn't. I used to sit there and cry. I couldn't get up there. And now I don't even think about it. I just go up and down all day, every day if I want.
yeah,
It's
without
just
a doubt.
amazing.
And
It's
also,
huge.
I think this is what I'm getting from you. And for those of you that are at different stages of your recovery, if that's you today, then just take heart because when you're through this and you're well, even the small things like going for a walk, going and getting your shopping, those sorts of things, don't you feel joy at doing it, Liz? It feels like a
It's amazing.
privilege, doesn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. When I go up the stairs, I'm like, oh my God, this is so lovely. And walking, it is
I
just going
know,
up the stairs.
but
I'm
you
like,
know
what?
the big
You
thing
know,
is,
it is. That's helpful. And when I went for a walk at the weekend, I went for a walk through the Bluebell Woods, and
oh
I was just like, I wasn't pushing myself. I didn't have that fatigue. I didn't have that dragging. It was a pleasure, and
yeah.
it was just wonderful. I felt like crying because it was just so wonderful for me to be able to do that.
And I also think that, when you feel like crying at that, and I'm always like that when I take the dog out and I look around and everything, and it's
Yeah,
because when you are so depleted and you're trying to live in your head and figure everything out of how you're going to get better, you've lost your connection to your body and you're kind of like your real sort of spiritual self, if you like. When you've made all these
yeah,
changes and you honor your well-being, the reason you well up with tears so easily for joy is because you're totally connected. And that's
yeah,
why shopping and walking and things
yeah,
are just such a privilege, and why we get so
yeah,
emotional. So that I just want people to understand that it is really a process. So Sophie's asking about candida diagnosis. Yes, absolutely, candida is
yeah,
often present. I'm sure I had it. I'm sure you did, Liz, as well.
yeah,
The gut is, again, the cortisol and adrenal will shut down the gut, and when the gut shuts down, it's where your immune system is based. And of course, you can get leaky gut and all sorts of things. And of course, that will give you very similar symptoms to, you know, we don't, we with CFS, ME, whatever, it's just a label given to all of these symptoms. So Candida is just another one of them, really. Stu's asking about perfumes, aftershaves, deodorants associated with ME environment. For some people, Stu,
mm,
absolutely, they're just too sensitive to be able to deal with them. And that's what Liz was saying. She's changed over to all natural stuff. And so have I. All my skincare's natural now. Um, I love it. I use Neil's Yard. It's great. Right, emotional health. Right, we're coming to the
yeah,
tough stuff now, Liz.
yeah,
Um, so we left this one and relationships to near the end because as you're making all those changes, in some respect, they're easier changes, aren't they? Because they're kind of external changes.
mm,
You're having to just sort of start to eat differently and do different things. But the emotional health, as we know, is the ones that get suppressed and pushed down, and the ones that we sometimes feel we cannot change. So can you just tell us really, the tough changes that you made in order to really get your health back?
I will. This is huge for me, and this probably is the most important, apart from the nutritional, but huge. Relationships, I had to sort them out in a big way because I recognized they were just too damaging for me. Um, and the other thing was for me was unresolved grief. I had a lot of that going on. Very difficult to face up to, very difficult to shift. Um, Much more easy if you can go for counselling or something along those lines, or read. I read Dr. Sarno's book, The Body Mind Stuff, and have come to recognise that if you don't process your emotions, then it's going to hold in the body. And I now process them immediately because you have to. It's a huge subject, but it is the most important.
So we always
Really is.
say that suppressed trauma and traumas for sensitive people can be things that other people can shrug off.
Absolutely.
Unprocessed grief, the highly empathic nature of people that develop these conditions,
Yeah.
that we tend to like to look like we cope. So at the time
Yeah.
of loss, we can't process it, so we actually cope very well often, and then it
Yeah.
gets pushed down. It's never processed,
Yeah.
and of course, it causes havoc in the body. And the book that you
Yeah.
mentioned was The Mind Body Prescription by Dr. John Sarno.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
it makes total sense that that blocked emotion stuck in the body's trying to tell you need to deal with it. And what do? We take painkillers to block the pain.
Yeah.
And this is a huge part of fibromyalgia pain as well.
Yeah.
Always relationships or grief is involved in recovery from fibromyalgia. And I've actually had people say to me, I'm not prepared to go there. in which case then, you know,
mm,
they're going to make a choice to live with the pain, because as we know,
yeah,
there's all kinds of fantastic techniques for clearing this, and our practitioners are trained in that. They often point you in the right direction to
yeah,
watch something. You know, there's self-help techniques as well. I did
yeah,
an emotional clearance technique on our last recovery webinar for people to show them how to do it, and the stuff I do.
yeah,
So it's life changing, isn't it? When you shift that stuff out,
yeah.
it frees up space in the body, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the biggest thing, and I would absolutely urge everyone to do it, because you are not going to get rid of the pain if you don't do it. That's my absolute belief in
Yeah,
this.
without a doubt,
Um,
without a doubt.
yeah,
And I
absolutely. I
had to
still
say that to
I
someone
still
the other
go
day.
for, sorry,
Sorry.
sorry, Elaine. I
That's,
still actually go for counselling.
yeah,
If anything comes up, I will go for counselling, get it sorted,
yeah,
because you have to. Otherwise, you will know the pain. The pain will start.
yeah. Yeah, the Carol's asking, the book is The Mind Body Prescription, Carol, and it's by Dr. John Sarno, and it's one of the core texts that our practitioners work with as well. Jill is mentioning IBS. Yeah, IBS is one of the most commonest ME problems, and it's exactly for the reason I mentioned earlier, is that the when the stress hormones are perpetually circulating in the body, that you go into something called sympathetic dominance, which means that your gut becomes compromised, and digestion is the blood supply to the gut is shut down. 80% of the immune system's in the gut. So IBS is often a very early symptom. I've had IBS for years before I crashed with ME. I don't know, and I hear that a lot. So it's absolutely textbook. So okay. Relationships. We're going to talk about relationships and making the tough changes. So again, this was a big one for you, Liz. I remember working with
Yeah,
you on this around your partner. So maybe if you
yeah.
don't mind sharing, we'd be very grateful.
Yeah, this was huge, and it's still a problem. It's not a problem. It's still something I work on and I monitor at all times, not just with my partner, but just with everybody else around you.
Yeah,
Um, you do things to please people. You do things because you think you ought to. All these things, and because we're these A-type personalities and we care about people, then we put other people's needs and care, what they want first. Um, and I had to start saying no, and I had to start recognizing it wasn't good for me. Very hard to do, very hard to do. But now it's an ongoing process. I do it on a daily basis, actually, with everybody around me.
so
But hard,
you you
hard.
you split up in your relationship and became a single mum. Is that right? You realised, I think you said to me that you
Yeah, I
recognised that the
did.
relationship was never right, really, which is one of the reasons why, getting pregnant and going through a pregnancy with a relationshit that was rocky was
Yeah.
would have been setting up problems, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. It did, and it was, and that, I got pregnant, and then we split up, and then I was pregnant again, and then you're in this dilemma where you're single, but you've got the father, children around, and you're trying to make it work, and you're in this sort of confusion about how to set the boundaries down and what to
Yeah,
do, and it took me years. It took me
yeah,
absolutely years to sort the boundaries out.
yeah.
Um, but you have to do it for your own health.
So what works for you now? What have you done now? What types of boundaries, let's say, if you're willing to share, what types of boundaries have you got now that are keeping you well?
Okay, so the first thing is I put myself first. So
Yeah,
I always put myself first in what I want, and I ask myself, if somebody says let's do this or do that or whatever, I say, I ask myself, do I want to do it? Is it okay with me?
yeah,
That's what I ask.
yeah,
So I don't let people encroach on my life. They can't just turn up and, you know, arrive. I had friends and family that were expecting me to do things and expecting me to behave in a certain way, and I started saying, no, I can't do that. But it was very hard because you get backlash. They don't like it when you change,
yeah,
but you have to change.
yeah,
So you have to. It's quite hard. but you have to change. You have to go, no, this is for me. I don't want to do that. So you check in with yourself if it's okay for you to do it, if it's the right thing. Are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you doing it for you? Is it, or are you doing it for them? Are they actually pulling and drawing on you?
Yeah. These are the hardest things. So within the program, we have all the assertion sessions in there and building your
Yeah.
self-esteem and the magic
Hmm.
words to say and how you say things like "I'm not prepared to" or "I've made a
Yeah.
decision." And do you remember going through those and you just being able
Yeah.
to start to use that and getting a different response from those around you. And the
Yeah.
the negative relationships fall away, don't they? The ones that don't love you fall away anyway, and the ones
Yeah.
that do, just that, it's a bit like they shape up or they ship out, don't they?
Yeah, but that's exactly it. I lost a lot of my friends. Things changed, and I thought at one point I thought I've got no friends left. It's like, oh, okay, I've got no friends
You were
left.
just weeding your garden, and now you've got one full of flowers.
I was, because now I've got two friends in Wales who are my best friends ever, and I've got one or two down here, but they're the sort that pick up the phone. It's not a problem. They understand. You don't have any of that sort of manipulation from them
Yeah,
at
so
all.
quality, not quantity. And also,
Yeah,
this is all about becoming authentic, isn't it? Everything we've talked about
yeah,
is that, when you're putting you first, what you're meaning is that you're tapping into what it feels like when someone asks
yeah,
something of you. And if it doesn't feel good, you don't do it. And
absolutely.
if it does feel great, you say yes. And so again, you're totally
Yeah,
connected to the real you, and you're not trying
yeah,
to be the facade, the people, the person that other people want you to be. And these are the tougher changes, but that's what we support. That's what the
yeah.
support is all about. Once you get to that point, you feel very confident, and it's about loving yourself, isn't it? And being
It
okay with
is.
who you are.
It is. It's about honoring yourself and getting, as you said, getting in touch with you, who
Yeah,
you are, and not letting other people pull you around and manipulate you. And you just go, no, it's not okay. You check in with yourself. I check in with myself every time people ask me to do
yeah.
something, and I just go, is this okay? And I'm like, no, actually, I don't want to do that. It's not. Doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it.
And
And you don't have to be nasty. You
no,
can just say it in a nice way.
well, one of the things I teach people to say is, it's not really my kind of thing. Thanks so much for asking me, but it's not really me. And then people
Yeah,
get to know the real you, and you stop being put in difficult positions. Then, don't you?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
right, we've got a question here about toxicity caused by amalgam fillings. I have had mine removed, and it has made a huge difference. But I've had two lots removed, and the first lot I had removed precipitated a massive health crash because I went to a dentist who didn't know what they were doing. The ones I had removed more recently, it was absolutely brilliant because I went to see a holistic dentist. So if you are considering having any removed, I suggest you email in and we'll put you in touch with somebody for advice who works nutritionally and holistically and whose absolute area of expertise is amalgam fillings because you can precipitate a nasty crash if you have them done by somebody who just is going, is just doing it and doesn't know what they're doing. Um, Angie, you just asked a question about how to shift the emotion. There's things like EFT is a good method. There's all kinds of different things you can use. If you're on the recovery program, perhaps you could let me know. If you're on the recovery program, type in because then I can point you in the direction of the webinar. Oh, you are. So go into the members area, Angie, and it's the last one we did, I think. So have a look for the last webinar and I'll show you how to do it online. All right? Excellent. So, where are we? So, finally, I
Hmm.
don't know why we do this last because one of the key things for recovery, folks, is that you probably won't, because I've not come across it yet. I don't know anybody that goes back to doing everything they were doing before they got ill. Usually, it's in most cases, it's because you're on the wrong path, you're on the wrong track. When you're ill, it's really difficult to think about doing something new. However, one of the big important things that we do is to help you to identify what you would absolutely love to do in the world if there was nothing in your way. So, life purpose, when you know that what you want to do and it excites you, it energizes you, and doors and windows open all the time to get you moving in that direction. So, Liz, I know
Yeah,
you've got some exciting, you've made some exciting decisions about your life purpose now. So,
yeah.
perhaps you could just share with us, what you're doing.
Yeah, okay. It took me a while. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I've done a lot of meditating and along the program as I'm getting better, I've been thinking what I want to do. But obviously, my passion is there's a few things. My passion is looking after my children. My other passion is being well, is absolutely that people can be well if they want to and are prepared to put in the work, is to be well because we absolutely all deserve it. So I would love to help people recover from ME. Absolutely love it because I've been there. I know what it's like, and people don't deserve to be like that. Absolutely don't deserve to be it. It's just horrible. Um, so that's what I'm aiming to do. I'm doing a counselling course, and I'm doing some of your training, Elaine, and that's what I want to do. And I would like to travel and do it actually because I fancy doing some travelling. So
You know what
that's what
would be
I'd like to
lovely,
do.
Liz, is look into I can put you in touch with some people. Look into yoga retreats and things. The ones that
Yeah,
have all over the world, because I go on yoga retreat and I've never been on a yoga retreat yet without two or three people in the group that have got, I always end up busman's holiday. I always end up
yeah,
having to give out leaflets, but often that would be a fantastic opportunity to go and perhaps do some of your health work. Around fatigue and everything in retreats.
yeah,
I
that
think there's
sounds
I think
good.
there's a real gap.
Yeah,
You get to travel and have sunshine. There's a question here, just and it's one we get asked often. So instead of me answering it, I'm going to hand it over to you, Liz, because I know you've been in this position. So
okay.
Beth is saying, how would the chrysalis effect be able to help someone with financial restraints who might not be able to make some of these changes? For example, I'm single, living alone and on benefits and had them cut, and I'm under a lot of pressure financially to get back to work. So
Yeah,
Beth, if I can't tell you how many times we have had that type of email come in, and that's exactly why we do the work we do, because it's really difficult. But Liz, what would you say to Beth about the whole
yeah.
situation?
Yeah. I mean, I was in exactly the same position. I was on my own. I had two children, on benefits, no money or little money. But and I thought, how on earth am I going to do it? How am I going to access all these alternative practitioners that cost loads of money? But the way you do it is one is the program, the Chrysalis Effect program, wasn't actually very expensive. I find that absolutely manageable, um, and that was my lifesaver, to be honest. I just signed up for that to start with, and then I made little changes that don't cost money. So you can start off with things like, drinking water and taking sugar out of your life, and the nutrition thing. You can find that actually some of the food is cheaper if you buy it fresh than it is buying packet food. That was a huge thing for me. I also found a farm shop that could deliver that actually wasn't that expensive. Um, so lots of little things that you can do. There's a lot of things in there that you can do, and a lot of the program tells you things that if you work your way through it, that you can do without having to pay a lot out.
Yeah.
That's what I found. And then
Well,
when I did decide, there was a specific thing, like I needed to see somebody about my thyroid, that was obvious. I mean, that was one of the big things. It was very obvious. And I did save up the money, or I borrowed it for somebody
yeah,
and went and did it because I knew that was crucial.
yeah,
But you're not sort of practitioner hopping all over the place.
yeah, because that's the
Does that answer
difficulty,
the
isn't it?
question?
Is yes, I think it does, and I think that is the thing when you spend more money when you're not in something that is already sort of structured. What you have to remember is when we didn't always have practitioners. When we started and developed the Christmas Effect, it was a self-help
Yeah,
program to use at home. So it's got loads of
yeah,
resources in it.
yeah,
There's books in there, so you can read and educate and make changes yourself. It's just that many people do like to work with a practitioner and like to have that one-to-one support. and we have put together recovery protocols that practitioners can work with. Many practitioners that you'll go and see outside of a specialist practitioner, they don't understand the condition, and they treat and do things at the wrong phases. And also, and a lot of practitioners will admit this, they think their therapy is the answer. They might think that, everything can be sorted with homeopathy, everything can be sorted with this, everything can be sorted with reflexology, whereas actually practitioners that come in and work as part of the Christus effect admit that their therapies are effective and brilliant, but actually it needs to be done as part of specialist education, information, and part of protocols. And they bring in their colleagues to do some of it that their therapy isn't going to address. And I think that's what it's about, having they've really been courageous and stepped up and recognized that the limitations of the benefits of what they do, but the limitations of what they offer. And by bringing their therapies under the umbrella of the Christus effect, they learn how to make sure that somebody isn't doing the wrong things at the wrong time. So,
Yeah.
but we never had that in the beginning, did we?
No,
When you
no, you didn't have that. I just did the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, yeah, Amy's saying she doesn't have the driven personality that Liz described. Would the Christus effect still be effective? Yeah, Amy, it's we say driven in terms of work or sport, but sometimes it can just be an overgiving. I don't know if that resonates. If you've not been putting yourself first, and you've maybe been trying to do a lot of things to help others, sometimes that's the other part of the profile. There's more aspects to the profile that we haven't gone into today. It's just that we often see the A type as something, a very common theme, but actually sometimes it's just somebody that has not put their own needs first. So I don't know if you perhaps might resonate with that a little bit more. Okay, so Christus effect, how it helped your recovery, Liz?
Yeah, the main things is, one, what I loved about it, although I did want all the modules at once, it was I did want them all at once, let's be honest. But the fact that it was a step-by-step program, and you could work your way through it at your own pace, so you could do bits here and there. So it sort of built in little bits here and there, and you worked your way through it. I really liked that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that it was affordable, because we're on benefits, and if it had been any more expensive, I couldn't have afforded it. So it was very affordable. And the other thing I love is that you actually say that it's for recovery. It's like it was music to my ears, because everyone I had talked to before was about managing, it wasn't about recovering. And that was just so like, oh, thank God for that. So I had this program that I could go to, that you could work your way through with lots of different things and find out what's right for you and get them all in and support you, and you would recover, because it was a program, it was a step-by-step program.
Right.
And you also had the email, the other things, the Facebook support and the email support. That was brilliant.
Yeah, so it's being part of the community, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rachel's just asking, how long before you saw major improvements by using the program?
It was sort of little improvements. It took a while, because I was still doing the boom and bust thing. So you had little improvements to start with, and then you would go, oh yeah, I'm better, and then you would do something stupid.
But I think the thing is, we do explain that on the phases, don't we? We do say.
I know, but I wasn't taking much notice, was I? So
no,
it was like,
okay, that's normal. That's normal. But then something clicks and you get it, don't you? So.
Yeah, then something clicks, and then eventually you go, right, okay,
Rachel's saying that's totally her. Oh.
Yeah.
So look at these boys, they survived their
My gorgeous
nuggets
boys.
on paper plates, didn't they? Look at these handsome boys. And you at this wedding. So what are their names? Tell us about your boys.
The one on the right is Jack, he's my eldest, and he's 17 now. And the one on the left is Toby, and he's 14.
Oh.
And they're just beautiful, they're just brilliant. Jack has just walked in the door, actually, from doing his AS levels.
And I remember you sitting down with them and going through, asking them what they could help you with, because you were worried about trying to do everything, and they rallied round and really helped, didn't they, when you were
Oh,
poorly?
absolutely,
So big
absolutely.
pat on the
And
back to the
and
boys.
yeah, they absolutely, and they love it now because I'm recovered and they can see the difference in me. It's lovely.
Oh, so there you go. Transformed lives. They've got their mum back, and you're going on to help so many other people, Liz. It's been an absolute
Yeah,
joy today. Thank you so much for taking time out. And
you're welcome.
my heart is singing. My day is made today. So I hope
Good.
well, I know that everybody will have been inspired by listening to you. And Tracy's
Good.
saying you're an inspiration, Liz. Thank you for your honesty. Tracy, oh, what a
Oh,
gorgeous photo, and thank you so much. And so with Liz, what you see is what you get. She just tells it like it is. And Nina saying thank you for giving me hope. So there you are. You're not even got your final qualifications yet, and you're already
yeah.
helping people out there, which I always sense.
Well,
So
you're very
fantastic.
welcome, and I'm glad I
Oh,
can be of help.
thank you so much, Liz. So I'm just going to finish off with just some if you need help with your recovery. I know some people are on here today because they've had the ebook. Remember that there's the free ebook, there's a free trial. You can try the on multimedia recovery program. I'm just building up to later in the year, reshooting all the videos. We're going to have all lovely updated videos as well. So hoping to do that a little bit later on in the year. And we're constantly looking to improve and change things. And then, of course, when you do that, you'll get your free health profile review with a specialist practitioner. Somebody did ask, there's the link there if you haven't gone ahead and tried the 30-day free trial. And don't forget, you come into the Facebook forum as well and get all support in there. And you come on these webinars every month where we go through different aspects. So many people had questions today. We couldn't answer them all, but that's what we're here for. And the live webinars you get with me every month and guests and things. But somebody asked about if they've already got practitioners, can they still do the Chrysalis Effect program? Yes, you absolutely can. And because if you think about, we have people in different countries. We don't have practitioners all over the world yet. We have somebody in America now, and we have somebody in Australia, and we've got somebody in Portugal. But a lot of our practitioners work over Skype, so it does mean that they can work pretty much internationally. But if you are already seeing practitioners and you're making the improvement, that's fine. Just the difference is that everyone all our practitioners that are part of our community have undergone specific training in ME, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia recovery, and they understand it right from the ground up. And they have the specialist practitioners have also got the protocols as well. So there we are. So thank you. I mean, lovely compliments here. Sophie's asking about becoming a practitioner. Sophie, if you just drop us over an email, then I can send you some information about becoming a practitioner. We have a foundation course and we have a specialist level course as well. And I can let you know what it entails. All right. So anyway, thank you everybody for being with us today. I've so enjoyed it. Liz, I just wish I could give you a hug. I'm sending one to Cornwall.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
I shall see you next week on Wednesday, won't I, on the practitioner training.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we'll do.
yeah, and have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for all your help today. And
That's okay. Thank you.
just look forward to being with everybody next month on our live webinar, which is our 17th of June at 10:30. That's a morning one next month. We changed the time for you, Liz, today so that you could be on.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
Wednesday the
thank
17th
you.
at 10:30. I will say, do keep an eye though. Sometimes we do have to change it slightly, the time. We try not to, but sometimes that happens, but just look out. But that's when we're aiming to do it. And without now you've got that, I just want to leave you with this lovely inspiration that Kelly found, who always gets our inspirations for our webinars, and it's life lessons from a butterfly. And it's let go of the past, trust the future, embrace change, come out of the cocoon, unfurl your wings, dare to get off the ground, ride the breezes, savour the flowers, put on your brightest colours, and let your beauty show. So I think that's pretty much what Liz has told us today she's done. And you can absolutely do it too, you know. So we're here to support you every step of the way, and look forward to having a really, hopefully, inspired health giving month. And we're sending you lots of love from the Christmas Effect. And Liz, if you want to say your goodbyes, we'll sign off.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. I hope I've helped. And thank you for inviting me, Elaine. It was great.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. We've got a lovely Kim saying the Christmas Effect was there from the beginning when I felt so alone and nobody else was. You're a super inspiration. I've now completed Reiki 2 and Rahani and hope to help others when I'm fully well. Much love, Kim. Oh, that's lovely, Kim. So great to hear that. Gosh, we've got a real lovely community of people that are getting well and then going out, and it makes sense of your illness, doesn't it, if you can go out and help others. So anyway, thanks everybody. Look forward to being with you next month, and a huge big thank you to Liz, and see you soon.